All right, ladies and gentlemen, believers, hivelings, and everybody in between. I am the outlier Isaac. Welcome to another episode of A Bothered Man podcast. Now, today we have we have the privilege of interviewing probably one of the most well, depending on your perspective, to me he's famous. To me, he's famous. But to some people, but to some people he can be infamous. Again, to me, he's famous. This we have with us today, Southside Gun. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you having me. Infamous is something I think is very fitting considering my standing with a lot of people in the world. Um, I may not be the most liked, but that can't lie. At least I'm honest about it.
Which, for me personally, that is one thing I appreciate about people. They say, "Look, I don't care what perspective you have on things. Just be honest. Like, don't
That,
just
that's
don't
the
like for
biggest thing
me.
you
Like,
can do.
just don't. It's like I want to say don't lie, but like don't try and insult my intelligence. If that's how you
Yeah,
feel, that's how you feel. I can't do anything about that.
absolutely.
If anything, it depends on what it is, like and how direct it is. I can tell you why you may be wrong, but I can't say you can't think that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
So today, like I said, the point of a Bother Man podcast is it is the point where I invite people on and I ask them what bothers them or what has been bothering them, and it can be as serious or as unserious as it can be. So today, Mr. Southside Gun, what bothers you?
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you what bothers me. It's very much music related. Because if everybody knows that I am very passionate about music in terms of reviewing, in terms of listening. I try to keep track of all the albums that drop every year. I do top 100 every year. I do top 50 in June, like at the end of June. So keeping up with music is something that I am very serious about. I take it very serious. So what bothers me the most is specifically when there are people who justify bad music strictly because it sold a certain amount of units. Now, granted, this is recent considering what we've been seeing between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. And I will let people know what I'm saying and what bothers me. This is not just because of that one instance. I will be very, very honest. It comes from artists like Drake. It comes from artists like DJ Khaled. It comes from artists who constantly have records that top Billboard charts or top these Apple Music charts or these Spotify charts. And the music itself is not good. And I know for a fact that you guys are forcing yourselves to enjoy this terrible music just because you're fans of this artist instead of being flat out honest and just calling a spade a spade. I am on the record. People know this. One of my favorite rappers has me blocked because I gave his album a 6. I still listen to West Side Gun. I still support Griselda. I will always support that man. However, I'm not gonna
Oh,
sit here and lie and tell you that this album is good when I'm vastly disappointed. I don't
I
lie to myself, and as someone who I would deem is very respected among not just my peers, but other people who are actual artists who literally follow me and interact with me that I don't tell y'all about all the fucking time. They kind of look to me as someone that is very respected. So if I'm lying to the average everyday person, those artists are not going to respect me. They're not going to want to work with me. So I try to keep it as possible, as real as possible. Y'all got to stop with that. Stop the lies. Stop hyping up shit just because it tops charts. It's not. No, these albums are fucking terrible, especially nowadays. They're terrible.
I think as somebody who so I as somebody who enjoys, I enjoy music to a large degree. You know,
Right.
I don't write album reviews. That's just I can't, because some albums I listen to, they just aren't. I'm like, I don't have time.
Trust
I'm
me,
just being real.
I've been there. There
I'm
are some
just being
times
real.
where
So
I
it's like
just, yeah.
I've definitely been disappointed by albums this year that I thought would be great. That I was more so looking forward to, and
Yeah.
maybe it didn't give out. For example, I'll be real, Alfredo 2. I was I love Freddie Gibbs. I think he's amazing. But to me, I think maybe it's partially because when I hear like a sequel to an album, I'm expecting a similar sound. And that's
Mhm.
not what I got compared to the first Alfredo, compared to this Alfredo. I was
Mhm.
not, I didn't get, it wasn't what I was expecting, put it that way. You know,
Interesting.
again, that's not to say it was bad. Let me
Right.
clarify. That's not to say that album was bad. I do not think that album was bad. It just was not what I expected. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It was
Yeah.
just what I was expected. And then can I guess? I think I did see when West Side Gun kind of was upset about, was it which one was it? Was it was it released this year? Was the
No,
album
it actually was
oh
uh,
wait,
uh, a while back. Actually,
it wasn't anything you pray for me, was it?
it was.
Mm.
It was, and he was like, "Andy, you pray for me," and I was like, "Yeah, I wasn't feeling this one." And it was me being honest, because this is off the heels of, you know,
That's all the heels of 10 of Give a
yeah,
Rhythm at 10.
it's just certain times you can tell when it comes to his music, you can hear greatness, and you can hear when you're like, oh, this is gonna be one of those ones. And with that project, I never got that feeling. Now, granted, per my scale and my rating system, because I've given some crazy ass scores, given my rating system, a 6 is not as bad as people make it out to be. A 7 is really not, like,
I feel like
anything that's
people. I don't mean to cut you off. I feel like people hear 6 and they think, "Oh, this dude gave me a
they
4."
think is no, they think it's terrible. And I don't know, I don't understand why. It's like, if you're getting, if I'm rating it out of a 10, anything above a 5 is above average. It's just, you guys think above average, and you guys think, oh, well, if it's above average, it's at least an 8 or a 9. I'm like, that's not how I view it, and that's not how society back in the day would view it. Anything over a 5 itself is average. So anything higher than a 5 is above average, which means it's actually pretty good. It's just the level of good that you actually think it is. So, not to say that it was me harping on him, I was very critical of it. But at the end of the day, I could be critical and still say something is good, which is why I got a 6. But at least it shows that, hey, these motherfuckers actually read my shit.
Have you ever, so before I get into your scale, have you ever given an album probably more than what it deserved?
I would say a lot of people are saying that now, right now, about the Taylor Swift project. I'm kind of big on pop music, and I didn't think it was as bad as everybody's making it out to be. I think people are kind of wanting Taylor Swift to kind of do something in a way of which it's a lot of pop and circumstance, and it's a big holy gesture and something that she could go on tour with, and you get the fireworks with every song, and it's something reminiscent, groundbreaking, or something that's like a Lady Gaga could do, or something like that.
Nobody can do what she can do.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think
nobody can do what Lady Gaga can do.
And then it also might just be fatigue. So people might think, oh, well, you gave it a 7.5. You're being very generous. I gave it like a 5 or something. And I'm like, yes, but there are other elements within the album that maybe y'all don't care about, or y'all don't notice, that I kind of do. So it's like it resonates a little bit different. But I don't think, I try to be as fair as possible. I don't think I've really kind of given an album more than it should have. If anything, I usually undersell scores a lot. So if somebody may be thinking the album may be a 9 or a 10, I may give it an 8 or something of that level. That's typically how it goes.
So what is your scale? Because I know you give it out of 10. So and then I also noticed it's like you give like 7 point whatever's versus like straight
Yeah,
versus evens. So
because
what is your scale?
because I have to listen because I listen to so many because I think people don't understand like the level of how many albums I listen to and it's not like, oh, I only listen to hip hop or oh, I only listen to R&B. No, like I'm having to go between alternative, hip hop, K-pop, R&B, metal, death metal, rock, punk, uh not K-pop, but J-pop, French rap. Like I'm having to go through and sort through all these different things. So you can't really just grade it a 1 or a 2 or a 3 out of or whatever number out of 10. Like sometimes you have to be specific because the specifics matter. So if I'm rating an album, 10 is of course the absolute highest you can get because in my eyes, I think of the Pharrell video when he heard the beat and he said that lady had 10 out of 10 no notes. If I get that
Yeah, I
same
remember. I think I
feeling,
remember that video. I remember
if
that
I get
video.
that same feeling listening to your work where I feel like, wow, I have nothing but positive things to say, cool, 10 out of 10. No notes. 9, I'm nitpicking, to be quite honest. If it's a 9 and I feel like it's perfect and I find something to nitpick, that's where you get a 9. And then 8s is still good, it's great. Things could be a little bit different here or there. Cool. 7, I fuck with it. I may have skipped one or two tracks, or I may not think that it's not as great as some of the other tracks on the project. 6, it's okay. It's cool. It's listenable. I can listen to it again. 5, average. I may play it again. I may not. 4, it's okay. Yeah. 3, it kind of sucks. 2, it's terrible. 1, trash. 0, not worth my fucking time. And I've given scores lower than 0. People know that all the
I
time.
think I think didn't you give?
I gave somebody clogged toilet out of 10 last night or night before last. It
I
was
was
J.I.
gonna
Prince of
say
New York.
you get wait which one?
J.I. the Prince of New York. I gave him like a clogged toilet out of 10. That was a waste of my time.
Didn't I see you give? I think you gave Young Thug's album a negative. Correct? Do I have
I
that
give
right?
negative scores too because
No, I'm saying I think didn't you give? I feel like you gave that particular. The reason I'm not bringing up. I mean, I'm not a fan of
yeah,
Thug's music anyway, but I'm saying that because I'm pretty sure. No, I'm just not. I'm just not. Like I can get into a list of reasons why, but
yeah.
I'm gonna give one reason why. It's because. Uh, so honestly, most of the hip hop I've consumed happened in the last 5 years. I
Interesting.
but most of it, I when I say most of it I consumed, I went through like everything.
Hmm.
I went through like I was listening to everything that I could give energy to.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's about like I was even at one point asking people, hey, who I know have been listening to hip hop longer than I have, and say, hey, I'm trying to pick. I would tell them I'm trying to pick up. I'm trying to catch up on what I missed as far as hip hop goes. What would you recommend? And they would recommend me Big L. They would recommend me
Yeah.
Mob Deep. They would recommend me all the classic big names you could think
Yeah.
of, and even some
They were
names.
recommending legends, and
Right. Like, because
yeah.
I'm saying you give me everything I missed, and so I would go back, I would go through, listen to some of the stuff, and then even so on TikTok, like TikTok has been great because like I found out Nas's album Godson, the song Get Down by Nas. I found that song on TikTok to
There
a
you go.
skate to a the new video game Skate. Like somebody was playing that
Right.
video game and put the song Get Down by Nas behind it, and I was like, well, I've never heard this Nas song before. I like Nas. The song is dope. Let me add it to the playlist. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the reason why I don't like Thug is because because the radio is so crazy.
Yeah.
So this was 2014
Mm-hmm. And
when
you couldn't get away from him at that point. I
I
understand.
couldn't get away from him. It's
You can't
either
get away
life.
from him. I know.
So every other song is either lifestyle or about the money with him and T.I. And I'm like,
Yeah. So
and this
I
is also,
can,
mind you, this is before I discovered streaming. This is
Correct.
before I discovered streaming.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm stuck.
I grew up on the South Side. So I grew up on the South Side of Atlanta. So any artist from Atlanta, I've heard thousands of times. And I was a fan of Young Thug. And what I can say, I still am. I'm not gonna, whatever you doing in prison and all this other stuff on this tour, I don't care. I'm still a fan. It's just I don't like what he's releasing now. To go back to the original point of answering your question, I didn't give it a negative score. I gave it an STD out of 10 because it was that bad. It was listening to that album felt like I had an STD. It gave me the feeling like, damn, I have an STD. Like it just is when I get to a point of I listen to music and people know me for this. I don't take anything seriously. So, and most of the time, people don't actually read my reviews. They read the score first, then they go back up, read the review, and then see the score a second time. And then it gives them like, oh, now I see why you gave it that score, rather than read, see the score, and then have their feelings. The whole point of me giving scores and stuff like that when it's not on the scale is A, it's funny as fuck. B, is to invoke a conversation, because if I don't like it, I'm pretty sure you don't. Let's talk about it. And C, let's be real. These artists need to know they suck. So I'm not even gonna waste my time giving you a pointed scale. Let's just be real with it. No. You need to know this is horrible, this is trash, fix it.
First of all, as we said at the top of even before we went live, honesty is, I've always admired honesty like that. Like, because you're right. I mean, one of the things that has blown my mind and will continue to blow my mind is every year, my buddy would send me as a bit almost every year when the new double XL freshman class comes out.
Yeah.
As a bit every year it would get released. We'd send it to each other, laugh at the different names, Yeah. And then when the freestyles drop, I would beg him because I'm like, bro, please let's not, unless I've heard you before for some reason. I'm like, bro, let's not even waste our time on this. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. These aren't going to be good. Let's just be completely honest with ourselves. They're not going to be good.
No.
Save for like one or two. I think this year was the only good one who I actually added to my playlist. I don't know if he was this year or last year. Big X the Plug.
Yeah, he was last year. And
okay.
The one this year, there are some artists on there that I'm actually fans of. Strictly unironically. Just because I just enjoy listening to their music and I kind of can see where they could go with it. But what I can say is that when it comes to the Double XL freshman cover, it will never be what it was. And I think the biggest thing is 2016, we had Anderson .Paak, Lil Dicky, Designer, Denzel Curry, Uzi, Boat, 21 Savage.
Was Chance in that one, or was he?
That was like 2013 because that was way back.
I keep thinking that was the year. That was the year Chance dropped Coloring Book. He was already experienced.
Yep. So a lot of people are still hanging on the fact that we're gonna get that 2016 freshman list, where we're gonna get literally a myriad of superstars, because 90% of that list, everybody has gone on essentially to superstardom in some way.
Dicky was into acting and
but Dicky can rap and freestyle and he's great. Right. And Kodak had his own thing. Uzi had his own thing. 21 Savage and Denzel Curry had a great album. And Anderson .Paak is arguably the most talented one on the whole fucking list. So it's like, yeah, they're chasing that 2016 feel, but they're never gonna get it. We're never gonna get that again, ever. So I don't know why people are kind of hanging their hats on it. We're never going to get that again.
And the other part of the Double XL is because there's a tweet that I have it. I don't think I have it saved, but I liked it a while back. But it made so much sense. It said, if I see your name, if you're a rapper and I see your name is going to make me either determine whether I want to listen to you or not.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't because when I saw, for example, when I saw the name 1900 Rugrat, me personally, I thought that shit was absolutely fucking stupid. In a weird way, the weird names are the ones that make you want to be like, what what kind of music do you make? It does the opposite effect for me. So when I hear somebody have a name like Laserdem 700, I'm like, that's interesting. How'd you come up with this? Two, what type of music are you making, bro? Let me listen. And yeah, it may not be good. It may not be great. It may be trash. Who knows? But sometimes the weird names be the ones that make you like, you be like, I kind of fuck with this in a sense. Like, this ain't even that half bad. And that's usually how it is now. Yeah. So the weird names actually do the opposite effect.
maybe that's something that maybe it's because, like I said, I did go through that whole period of like listening to like everybody giving me just legendary names and then going through that I've established a certain mindset of like this switch is not. Yeah.
It's a huge jump between going from artists. Like, it's crazy to go from somebody like Big L and then someone's recommending you listen to fucking Playboi Carti. It's a huge, there's a gap that's in between that. Like, you're missing 2 generations of music before you even get to that point. So it's everywhere, but that's really the fun of it, is going out and listening to a new artist and discovering something new every day. And I try to do that for the most part, or I try to at least discover a new song every day. Right. I typically do, which is how I'm able to have this expansive ass fucking library of music. And I think now I'm up to like over 2,500 albums for this year. So it just keeps going.
Yeah, that's how, like I said, people can say what they want about social media. Social media is how I discovered like half of my musical, not half, a majority of my musical taste. Because as somebody who grew up like I grew out of it, I watch anime. So like when I was younger, I would watch AMVs. That's how I came up on Linkin Park.
You know?
I would scroll through TikTok. That's how I found this band called Sabaton. That's how I found them. Like I found like all these different artists in various different ways, just out of sheer curiosity. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This sounds interesting. Like I found a priest. Shout out to TikTok. I found a priest from Brazil, who DJs.
See, that's the power of social media.
Yeah. I found it he just goes various places and he still wears his collar. He still wears his clerical collar and all that. I'm trying to make sure I don't butcher his name. Padre Guilherme is his name.
Okay.
Yeah, and the way I found him is because he did a DJ set it's like an hour and a half on YouTube. He did a DJ set at the bottom of the Christ the Redeemer statue.
Wow.
Yeah, he did a whole DJ set from there,
dope.
And it was very, very good. Yeah, very good.
We discovered music a different way, because growing up in our generation, video game soundtracks was the biggest way that we discovered a lot of music. Especially that's how a lot of Black kids got into rock music as well. Outside of listening to anime, that's how we got into rock music for the most part. Like we would play those games, especially the wrestling ones. Like we would, and Madden and all that other stuff. So it's like that's how you broaden your horizons. Like you like the shit, listen to it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give before we get into wrestling, because I really do want to talk about that, because I've seen your actually before we even get into wrestling, there's something else I want to get into the thing that of how I discovered you. Okay. I want to get into the list, and I think you know the list I'm talking about. I want to get into that list before we get into wrestling. That's so cool. But I want to give I'm gonna lay I have I'm pretty sure you listened to these, but 5 of my favorite albums of all time. A couple of them have been released this year or recently. I'm wondering what did you give them? You don't have to give them, but I'm trying to remember. I'm wondering what would you give them? Okay. Or what did you give them? Because I'm pretty sure you listened to them. So Cheat Codes by Black Thought.
Anything by Black Thought is a 10. Black Thought is the greatest rapper alive. Right? Black Thought literally can do no wrong. There is not a single instance of Black Thought doing anything that you could find a problem with. Not
Yeah,
not one thing. He literally is one of those artists that you have your favorite artist,
yeah.
and then your favorite artist is Black Thought. Everything goes back to him. That's a 10.
So and also, so fun fact about that album, I found it. I listened to it because I listened to it because I was looking forward to it because of Run the Jewels was on there. Love Run the Jewels, by the way. Run the Jewels
Absolutely.
was on there, and then I heard it, and I listened to it all the way through, and before I was doing the top 10 of albums of the year, that was my number two until then Lil Sims dropped her album.
Mm,
I can't remember what name, can't remember what album she dropped the year because that was like 2022. She dropped some fire album that year, and that Lil Sims album was my album of the year until I heard that Black Thought album. Then I was like, oh,
yeah.
sorry Sims, you're great.
Yep.
I love Lil Sims, but that Black Thought album, no skips whatsoever.
No.
Um, all right, so there, and then so Let God Sort Them Out by the Clips.
That I think I gave a 10 as well because a lot of people there's lore in regards to that album. I actually met No Malice in college
Ooh,
in 2012. He was this was way with him in the hiatus, taking a break, doing everything, but him just explaining who he was and why he doesn't like curse and things of that nature. So seeing how impressive it is for him to just basically hop back in the booth, do all these verses, no curse words, complete top tier flow, great lyricism, and of course, let's be real, Pusha T been rapping about the same dime bag of coke he sold in '94 for the last 15 years. I don't care how many times he raps about it; it's still good.
it
So
is.
that within
It is.
itself, yeah,
It is, man.
we hadn't had a Clips album in such a long time, so I gave that one a 10 because I just thought it was there were too many things that was good about it, and the one thing people not was like, oh, there's this Pharrell beat that's not as great. I'm like, I don't care, bro. This is great.
I think every album, every song I heard, just about every song on that album, was great. Beat wise was amazing. Like you couldn't do
Yeah,
any better than that. Like I said, as soon as I heard Ace Trumpets, when Ace Trumpets got released as a single, I'm like, good luck to everybody else, man.
yeah.
I was like, good luck to
Essentially,
everybody else. Like, let me be
essentially,
honest. And I hadn't felt that way about an album since Cheat Codes. Since Cheat Codes. And I knew, and we both know how great that was.
mm,
Chromacopia by Tyler the Creator.
that also got a 10.
That was a man.
That also got a 10. And I genuinely was. Tyler Creator is probably my third or fourth favorite rapper of all time. And I've been one of those people who I listened to Tyler Creator from the very beginning, from Bastard, from when he was making not necessarily horrorcore, but it was very off kilter alternative hip hop
Yeah.
for a while. And I think Chromacopia is just one of those things where if you listen to the albums, because every album that he's ever released has a story. Everyone. There's a concept, there's a story behind every project, there's a reason behind everything. And initially, it didn't sound as good as I would say Igor or even Call Me If You Get Lost.
That was actually my next one because man, let me tell you
It,
something about Call Me
but
If You Get Lost.
but because I've given Tyler tens since those two. I think Don't Tap the Glass was the one I didn't give a 10 to, which
Yeah.
I can understand because it wasn't there wasn't really a concept behind it like
Yeah.
it was, but it necessarily wasn't. It was just, hey, this is just dance music. And
Right.
sometimes dance music isn't all of that. But Chromacopia I gave a 10 to, for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say, speaking of tens, Chromacopia, like to follow up. So I loved Call Me If You Get Lost because
10.
I came after so I listened to Igor and was not I think it's because I hadn't listened to Tyler like that heavy. But like it's like I knew who he was. Like I knew who he
Yeah.
was. As I was saying, I knew who he was. But to hear him go from like, because I would, because I was listening to, I would go from like Cherry Bomb to Flower Boy, and then
Oh, see, that's where you messed up at. Yeah. So what
well,
happened is there's a way
yeah,
to listen to him,
right,
and we have to be. So the way to listen to his music is you have to start with Goblin. You have to, because that's the one that it tells you who he is. Then you go from Goblin, and you go from Goblin to Flower Boy. Once you listen to Flower Boy, Igor makes sense. So then you go from Goblin to Flower Boy, and then you go Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost, Chromacopia. Then you go back and you listen to Wolf, Bastard, and then you listen to Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb explains Don't Tap the Glass. That's how you listen to him.
when I so appreciate that because I may end up doing that. But when I said that, I was like, okay, it's like okay, so he's rapping. Then I get to Igor, and then he's
Because
singing.
Igor wasn't even a rap album.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think that's what threw me
album.
off. I think that's what threw me off. And then he made Call Me If You Get Lost, and I was like, at that point, I was like, all right, well, whatever he does after this, I'm sold.
Yeah.
After Call Me If You Get Lost, like whatever he does after this, I'm sold. And then he dropped Cornucopia, which made me saying whatever he does after Call Me If You Get Lost, I'm sold, made me look like a genius because like you said, Cornucopia was amazing. And
Absolutely.
then Don't Tap the Glass was what that was. And then the last one I'm gonna say was so one before I say this one, I listen to music in cycles. Like I've heard it before. Like I will hear a song from an album, right? Listen to the song that album was on.
Right.
Listen to the album the song was on, rather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go through the album, like bounce around and say, okay, song was on, the album was okay, but I got these songs from it. Go back again, later down the line because this song is on that album too, and go back through it again and keep going. And then until I have to break down, I was like, no, just listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you're probably wondering which one it was. To Pimp a Butterfly. The first song I listened to was All Right. I heard All Right on the radio, in 2016. I heard All Right on the radio. Right. Then I added that to my playlist. And then I added later, The Blacker the Berry and Hood Politics on there.
Right.
Unaware, mind you, this is unaware of like what I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Or like not taking the gravity of what it is. Because after that, I'm seeing people rank this album so high and hold it in such high regard. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, Kendrick's good, but the album to me, like they're better albums than that.
Yeah.
But then recently, like this year alone, I went I think it was like when they said I saw it on Twitter, it's like this is the 10-year anniversary of To Pimp a Butterfly. I said, all right, I'll listen to the whole thing, and I listened to it from Wesley's Theory to Mortal Man. And I was like, what have I been doing? This album is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
What have I been doing?
In my opinion, it's not my favorite Kendrick project, and I will be everybody that I listen to. I always have that one favorite project, and I know subjectively, To Pimp a Butterfly is his best work. It is arguably the greatest rap album of all time.
What is your favorite project by him?
My favorite Kendrick project is Good Kid, Mad City.
That is a good one.
That's my favorite Kendrick project. Now, GNX is a very close second, but I can't say that To Pimp a Butterfly, you can't undersell it because the songs are great, the message is great. So I mean that album literally is a 10 out of 10. Like I said, it's up there as one of the greatest rap albums of all time. I put it like right behind Illmatic. Like I literally put like right behind it. Illmatic to me is my favorite rap album of all time. Like that's my magnum opus.
That is a magnum opus. I don't know how you feel about him personally, but I was the last one before. This is the last one for real. Where would you put My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? I know how I don't know how you
No,
feel
no, no,
about
no,
him
no.
personally,
It's not.
and we're
It's
not
not.
even going to get into all that. But I'm
I'm
just
not a fan of Kanye. It's not that I'm not a fan of Kanye. It's not that. I'm not one of those people who overly hype. I don't overly hype albums.
okay.
And I felt like a lot of people are very they're very dramatic when it comes to defending this project. I didn't give it anything higher than a 6. I didn't I just think that I get he's a musical genius. I get that he's all of these things, but nothing to me is better than the college trilogy.
Yeah,
Late registration, college dropout,
yeah, that's
graduation.
fair.
Though he can't top that. And I know that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is a very groundbreaking project. But when we look at the grand scheme of things, every time I think Kanye, I don't think that album. I think Graduation. Because that is what I believe to be my favorite. So yeah, that album specifically, I would give that one like a 5.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Like I said, that's my personal favorite project. I remember because I think it's the first album I remember listening to and then watching a movie for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like just yeah. So that's how I hold that in that regard.
Right.
So a couple of years ago, you went viral for a list that you
Mm-hmm.
made.
Correct.
Which, if correct me if I'm wrong, you were at over 1,000 on this list.
Over, yeah, definitely over 1,000.
You're at over
I'm
1,000
closer to
things on
two.
this list.
I'm closer to 2,000 than I am 1,000.
So you were at so as you say you were closer to 2,000 on it. It was a list that said thing and correct me if I get the title wrong. Things that are not deemed. Maybe paraphrasing, but it was basically said that things that are not deemed masculine. Is that correct? I
It's
feel like
basically it's basically things men are not allowed to do based off of social media. So
right.
the official title is called Things Masculine Men Aren't Allowed to Do. And in parentheses, I have according to social media.
Okay.
And so
What spawned this idea?
because one, it was done out of a joke. And it's crazy how it's the craziest thing how a running joke has lasted 4 years almost. That's number one. So I feel like yes, I've ingrained myself with being in like Twitter history if they like have that thing where it's ingrained in the world because it's everywhere. Every time a woman says, as a man, why are you? I'm immediately getting tagged. And it's like, hey, is this on the list? What is this? What is this? So it just depends how everything is going from that certain perspective. It's absolutely hilarious because I did it just because I was bored. It was just I just started taking notes of things people were saying on TikTok, and I started taking notes of people were saying on Twitter, and then eventually there was some girl who said, "What is it that men can't do?" or something. And I just dropped a tweet, and it was just me scrolling, and it was very, very small at the time. It was barely like 50 things on there, but from that point, it blew up into something that was crazy. And so every day it felt like it was something. I was adding something new. Thousands of people were coming in. It was getting millions of views, likes, tweets, all that stuff. And so over 3.5 years, it just started to matriculate into this big giant thing of now anytime a woman says anything negative about a man and not being masculine, I'm the first person people think of.
I remember I saw one of the videos and the comments will be like, "Where's that guy with the list?"
Yeah, and
then like
it's
I
like that.
remember I shared it with some friends of mine yesterday. I was telling them about it, and they had opinions on certain things of it, certain aspects of it, but but one of the questions they asked, and I was like, that's honestly a good question, was what perspective are you there? And I was trying to clarify, is like I don't think he's looping in an entire community of women. He's talking about one. I don't even think he's singling out one particular person. He's saying like he's saying he heard this person say something on social media.
This list is strictly satirical.
Yes.
This list is strictly satirical. Yeah. And the biggest thing is that I don't even see these tweets that these people make for me to stop, pull out my notes, type it up, make it a video, and then post it. I don't see these tweets. Now, initially in the beginning, like the first couple months, yes, I would see it. Every once in a while, I would see something. But after like 6 months, no. Everything that is on this list, all 1,174 rules, out of maybe 50 of those have come directly from me doing my research. The rest of it, I've been tagged in.
And because the list is big enough, I know you have. I'm sure you do. What are the top 10 most ridiculous things you've seen on that list?
Breathing, dying.
Dying was not.
The one is funny that dying is funny because dying is rule 187, which if you know what 187 means, it means murder, death.
Yeah,
like I said, that's why it's satirical, because when people pay attention and see it, chasing after the ping pong balls, you're not allowed to do that. Leave the party when the function gets shot up, can't do that. That one's crazy. Let me see. It's some other ones. Some recent ones that are like kind of crazy. Leave after your girl stabs you one time. That's crazy. When you say after you've had something to drink, that's nuts. Let's see. Have good posture.
I saw one of them had, like, I told one of them when I was with my group of friends, I asked them, I said, have a skincare routine. I think that was like 87.
That's one. Eat meatball subs. Be from New York. Be an introvert. Eat Wendy's. Open your blinds the first thing in the morning to let the sun shine in. Yeah, that one's nuts. So like they're very they're very specific. Like some of them are very broad because like you can tell.
Like I saw Be Nice was on there.
Yeah, Be Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like some of them are broad, but most of them are very specific, and you can tell a woman has went through something with a guy.
Right.
And so, and even within the list, within like the first year or like the first year, I actually had an article written about me and the list itself and what it meant, because it was this giant cultural shift. Now that every time some woman says like a man can't do something, it's like we just added to this list of things that men are not allowed to do. So it's been very the list is very, very ingrained in my life now. I cannot escape it. I never will.
To be fair, it is a hilarious list. Like the idea that like I understand it's pure satire, but in the same way, it is. But in the same way that it is satire, in the same way that some people will look at this and like the fact that people would even think that like really like dying is
it's crazy. It's crazy because some of these women were serious.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. It's crazy because like they're serious. They're not even like they're not joking. Like a few people I know, there are some women that have made jokes. Yeah. Yes, I know they're joking, but there are times where no, they're serious.
Like I imagine sometimes you'll post it and you'll get whoever actually posted it will hit you up and double down. Like, no, I'm so serious about this.
That has definitely happened before.
Like
that has definitely happened. That will continue to happen. To be quite honest, that has happened. That will continue to happen for sure.
Yeah, but I just know when I first saw it and I was going through the list, I'm like, I felt like half of it was satire, but all those like, no, like if there's one thing I understand about satire. Now, I'm not a comedian or anything, but there's one thing I understand about satire. It's rooted in truth.
Absolutely.
Because you don't say anything. There's no way you say anything. Exactly. Things like this without like you're serious, but you're also like you're trying, you're joking, you're trolling, but at the same time it's like, no, you actually mean that.
Yes, absolutely.
I honestly feel like the world would be better if they understood satire. I think I did an episode earlier, which I wish I had broken it down more, like how I don't want to take this direction, but I heard somebody defend, and we're not going to dive into this, but I just want to say this: the dude when what's his name passed away a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
they tried somebody. I can't remember who he was on, but somebody was trying to defend what he was saying as satire. I said, well, first of all, he wasn't a comedian. Second of all, he wasn't a comedian. Second of all, if he was a comedian, he'd be the worst comedian ever because all he's doing is just, he's not even, there's no punchline to what he's saying. And
yeah,
point of comedy is supposed to be, they're supposed to be like jest and punchline. Like you can't say wild shit and then say, oh, I'm just joking. It's like, no, you meant it. And if you meant it, that's cool. It's like what we said before.
Yeah, just stand by it.
If you said it, just stand by that shit.
Stand by it.
Just stand by it. It's
Absolutely.
cool. We're gonna look at you like you crazy, but at least you stood by it. We'll give you credit for that.
Indeed.
Anyway, like I said, we're not gonna delve into that because I can go on that for hours and I don't have kind of time. So, wrestling. Hello? Oh boy. Okay. So, wrestling. Man, is WWE becoming more greedy, or is this where we were going with it? Honestly, because to me, it's becoming more greedy. I think that was honestly the first episode I did was how WWE is becoming more. Can you hear me? You good? You still good? Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Good.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
I think my audio went out.
Oh, great.
Hold on. Hold on, are you able to hear me?
Yes, you got me.
But I can't hear you.
You able to hear me?
That's the only thing. Uh-oh. What happened?
Great.
All right, are we back? Can I hear you?
Yeah. Hello? You good?
Where's the audio? Where we go? Hold on.
Because I can definitely hear you.
Hold on, are we there now?
Yeah, I can definitely hear you.
I think I might need to leave and come back in.
All right, well, I'll still be here. I'm going to keep going. And then...
Let me see.
Right,
let me see if that works. Hold on,
All right, so while we're experiencing technical difficulties, but okay, here we go. Hold on.
All right, I had to leave and come back in real quick. All right, we're good.
All right, so wrestling.
Yeah.
Is WWE getting worse? Is it just me, or is it getting worse?
It's hard to say worse because it's...
Well, let me clarify. Not worse. Is it becoming more and more greedy?
Yes, but I don't blame that specifically on WWE itself. I blame it on TKO because they bought WWE and they acquired the UFC, and instead of leaving it under one umbrella, one central place where you could just get everything, what WWE has done is, yes, they've been greedy, but that's because, again, for TKO, they're trying to get as much money as they can. To be quite honest with you, there's no reason why I need to have Netflix to watch Raw. I need to have a cable subscription or Hulu specifically to watch NXT and SmackDown. I need Tubi to watch Evolve. I need Peacock to watch the PLEs. And then I also need Well, I used to need Peacock to watch the PLEs, but you need Peacock for the back catalog, and then you need ESPN
for the PLEs now,
for
for the
the
pay-per-views
actual
now.
PLEs now.
Yeah.
So,
Which
and
are now
then
$40.
and but if you have a subscription with Hulu and you get the bundle, then it's fine, it's free with live TV. But if you don't, yes, that's 30 in additional to what you already have. So yeah, it's greedy in the sense of TKO is just trying to recoup on the money that they just put into WWE. And for me, being a wrestling fan, it's become very more expensive to enjoy the product. To be quite honest with you, it's very expensive.
Like
And
wrestling as a whole or WWE specifically?
wrestling as a whole is not as bad because when I'm one of those people, I'm gonna tell you up front: support your local independents.
Absolutely.
Support your local indies. When MLW comes into town in Atlanta, I always go. I've been going to support a couple friends of mine. I supported Top Dollar, AJ Francis, Alex Kane. That's my brother, Bumaye.
Love Alex Kane.
So I've gone to support my friends. If once I get a chance to finally go to Charlotte, I'm gonna go see Ashe Wrestling. Go support my friends up there.
I've been.
So, like,
it's good.
It's very good to support your local promotions because not everybody's gonna have an opportunity to go to a WWE event. I actually never been until last year. I had never been to an event. My mom never had money for it, and hell, I had to beg her to order Backlash 2007 or it was 7 or 8, whichever one was the Fatal 4-Way main event with
John, Sean, Edge, and Randy
and Mike.
2007.
That was the one I begged her to order that.
That was a fire pay-per-view.
I begged her, so I was like, she was like, oh, I wanted to go to the event because it was in Atlanta and I wanted to go so bad and I couldn't go. She was like, okay, next best thing, I'll order it so you can watch it. So I was like, that's great. But just as a whole, yes, I've seen the ticket prices. They're greedy. They're greedy. To get into
I showed it.
Upper deck seats, $200 for nosebleeds is crazy to me nowadays.
Yeah, I showed it to my dad. My dad's not even a wrestling fan. He can never get into it, but he knows I love it. And I showed him to that. I said, Dad, universally, like objectively, if you were a wrestling fan, would you pay this? He was like, no.
No, it's like, too expensive.
No saying. And what killed me was like, no, what's worse is like, people are going to complain about it and still go. And I'm like, guys, like,
yeah, they are. The thing about it is like, the product does not match the prices.
That is literally what I've been saying.
Not even trying to be like
that is what I've been saying.
This is not tribalism. This is not anything of that sort. If I got quality matches like how AEW, TNA, and even NXT in certain situations, if I get those type of in-ring quality matches with that price point, I would understand the price point because I'm getting a 6-7 hour show, but I'm getting nothing but grabs the entire time. That's giving me that price point. I'm not paying $2,000 for a floor seat to watch, and this is no disrespect. I'm not paying $2,000 to watch El Grande Americano wrestle Dragon Lee. I'm not paying that, and I love them both. I'm not paying that. What you're paying $2,000 for 5 matches, where you can go to an AEW show and pay a couple $100 and you get 8 matches, and you get to see Okada, you get to see Kenny, you get to see the Bucks, you get to see Hangman. You get these great matches. So it just.
So I went to All In.
Oh,
I went to All In Texas. Lost my voice. Great show.
Great investment.
But I paid $160 for my seat. This was my seat.
$160 is crazy.
I paid $164 for the seat.
Wow. That's not bad. That's actually not bad considering where you're sitting, considering that is a giant of a massive baseball field. That's
Yeah,
not bad.
that was 164. Blew my voice out. Uh, Shouted, screamed, hugged people, high five people. Like watched art unfold 3 different times.
Correct.
In the way of Kenny. First of all, the when I first encountered everybody in AEW in 2017. When I say I found out who Kenny Omega was in 2017 when I first watched New Japan. I had
Okay.
never heard of New Japan. I heard of like I would watch like TNA and I hear them refer to, oh, he used to wrestle in Japan, and so I'm like, or even in NXT, like Shinsuke Nakamura. I had no idea Shinsuke Nakamura was as big a deal as he was until I heard he wrestled AJ Styles at New Japan. I'm like, well, what is? Mind you, that's already after he got to WWE, so I had no idea. And so 2017 hits, and then somebody said, oh, yeah, these 2 guys, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, had the greatest wrestling match ever at Wrestle Kingdom in 2017. And I'm like, greatest wrestling match ever? It's like better than to me, because by that point, Shawn Michaels, first of all, Shawn Michaels is my GOAT. I don't care what anybody says. Shawn Michaels is my GOAT. And I was like, so somebody had a better match than Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania 2009, which he should have won. I don't care what anybody says. Shawn Michaels should have won that first time WrestleMania 25. Anybody was going to break the streak, it should have been Shawn Michaels, but instead it went to Brock Lesnar. But I don't want to rant because
understood.
I'm going to. What sense does that make? WrestlePalooza. What sense did that make? What logical sense did that make?
That's just TKO. That ain't got.
You wanted me. They wanted me. You're telling me, okay, we're gonna have John Cena. It's John Cena's retirement tour, who your company claims is the greatest of all time. You guys say that. Some people also say that too. Not me. I love John, but no, Shawn Michaels is better. Love Shawn Michaels. He's y'all go, and you're telling me you're gonna bring in a guy who nobody has seen since 2022. No, I'm wrong. Since SummerSlam 2023. I was at that SummerSlam. I hated it. Was not a fan of that SummerSlam. I mean, it was nice for the experience, but like SummerSlam at Ford Field, where it was Jay and Roman in the main event. I was like, what are we doing? Anyway, like that. Nobody's seen him since then. He gets caught up at that whirlwind, as he should have, with the whole McMahon thing, and then he comes back, and I'm just sitting there like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? And then you can't even, and then on top of that, y'all can't even book him to go at least a good solid 15. It's just 8 minutes of stuff we've seen a million times before.
Well, that's the thing, and that really kind of circles back into your analysis of Kenny Omega and Okada having the greatest wrestling match of all time, because they've done that match 3-4 times. Five to be exact.
5.
Yeah, so we've seen it 5 times,
twice.
And then
5.
We've seen it 5 times, but there's been something new and refreshing about it every time. So
they're older. Like this one, they're older. Kenny is older,
so
he can't move as
good.
But
also, I discovered Kenny through New Japan, but that was literally when he became the leader. So I had been watching New Japan. So when Balor showed up to NXT,
like 2000. That was like 2015.
I was like, oh, let me look at New Japan. Balor left, AJ took over. Right. When AJ left, Kenny took over.
Right.
That's when I learned about Kenny, and so I've been following the Elite, Ring of Honor. I am a wrestling nerd, so I've been following. Same. I have Ring of Honor, all that good stuff. So I've been following it forever. So just seeing how good the Elite have essentially, like what the Elite have given us, is something that I don't take for granted.
I don't either.
I've been to an AEW show. The only thing I have an issue with is that I went to an AEW show. I didn't get to see Kenny wrestle.
Okay.
he got into a brawl with the Bang Bang Gang before All in London.
Oh, okay.
So it was the go home show. So they promoted the match, but it was him and going with Jay White and all those boys. So I was like,
Right.
I want to see Kenny wrestle. But
Yeah.
hindsight being 2020, I actually got to see CM Punk's last match in AEW before he got fired, literally the very next day. So I was like, okay, well,
I would say you gotta take the good with the bad there.
I got to see CM Punk. I got to see Sting. So I've gotten to see a lot of those guys I grew up watching, and it's great to see. So I'm very much a big fan.
The beauty of All in London was I got to see. I'd seen him before, but not when he was active. So I got to see Edge do his run-in for Christian. That was awesome. Like I said, I saw Swerve and Ospreay and the Bucks. That was the match I lost my voice at, actually. That was a match where I was like, yeah, we're witnessing magic. That was magic.
Yeah. I'm very, very happy that match turned out to be with us. I am not the biggest Swerve Strickland fan. Everybody in the world knows this by now. But like I said, I can't deny what he does in the ring. I'm never gonna just discredit that. I just don't like the as a person. I just leave it at that. But it took me a while. It took me a while to even get, accustomed to Ospreay, because I couldn't stand Ospreay for the longest, and I was like,
Ospreay.
It grew on me. It grew on me naturally, because like, all right, there's nothing really that I can't. You annoy me, but there are other wrestlers who annoy me as well. So I might as well just enjoy what you do. So that's kind of that was my approach to it.
Yeah, and then like I said, I got to see the Hurt Syndicate, which is great. That was
absolutely.
Fun. I saw the Hurt Syndicate. I got to see West Side Gun technically perform.
Yeah, because he does the theme song.
Yeah, so, but I'm saying I've never seen, like, one of my favorite things when I watch AEW shows is like I'll watch it and I say, I wonder if West Side Gun is there. So I look,
and he'll be ringside.
I'll look for him in the crowd.
Yeah, he'll be.
I'll look for him in the crowd, because it's like playing It's like playing Where's Waldo. It's like, where's West Side? It's like, oh, there.
Yeah, ever since Vince McMahon sent him that cease and desist for using certain WWE terms on his music, he's very much leaned into just being an AEW fan. So it started from there. So it's like now every project we get is somebody that's referred to in AEW. Yeah. I think the last one was Max Caster. I was like, oh,
Powerhouse Hobbs on
Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah, that song was nuts. Jesus Christ, I love that song. Such a great song.
Speaking of that album, Amari Kitchen with brother A.A. Rashad and brother Tom Sos, that song was crazy. Also, because I love brother A.A.'s spoken word is like it's heavy stuff. Like you gotta be in the right mindset to hear that.
Absolutely.
And then obviously Hangman and Mox in the main event, and then Danielson showing up and Darby coming down from the ceiling. Just
all of that was great. I'm very much it's not many people in AEW that I'm not fans of. I've either grown up watching them or they've been my favorite for such a long time. Like just about every act in AEW I've pretty much enjoyed. So it seemed the culmination of all these people work together well, create great matches. I've always been on record. I've called this many times. Hangman Page has been the main character of professional wrestling ever since his storyline at Ring of Honor, when it was on Being Elite, when it was Where's Hangman? He went missing, and they ran that storyline through BTE and ROH, and they ran it for like a month almost. And it was like, where's Hangman? The second he showed up,
be him like in the woods or whatever.
And the second he showed up, the crowd went nuts. Everybody went nuts. I said, oh, they're gonna make Hangman either the new leader of the Bullet Club, or they're gonna do something where they position him, because they clearly see something in him. And further down the line, creating AEW, all that good stuff, they made Hangman that guy. So to me, he is what you would deem the actual main character. And because of the different layers within him, the heel turn, the subsequently of All In, how when you watch it on TV, where they was waiting for him to come out of the heel tunnel and the camera panned to the other side, I was like, it's those small nuances in wrestling that, unfortunately we don't get in WWE because it's not as layered as something as that. Everything in WWE is very surface level, whereas in AEW, TNA, you can find those specific layers that go just a little bit deeper, and
Progress wrestling goes deep.
Yeah, and something as small as just a camera pan from the heel side to the face side is like, wow, that signifies a lot. It's the full, complete turn of like, oh, Hangman's finally a good guy.
I think where it turned on that storyline, where it turned was right after he retired CD Christopher Daniels, who in and of itself, he's amazing. When he retired that, and then the next week he's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that after that match, because of that match I had with you, I can no longer wrestle again." And then you can't. He doesn't verbally say it in the mic, but you can see it in his face. He's like, "What?" He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's like, "Yeah." I was like, right there for me. I was like, "Oh, that's that." You can see. And then the next week he has that face off with MJF, which slowly built to where saying like, "No, this is." Like a redemption arc, which it was. And then he went on. Then he proceeded to have like just banger after banger, like Kyle Fletcher in the semis of the Owen, Ospreay in the finals of the Owen, MJF at Revolution. The match with Mox, which even now, like him and Samoa Joe are going to cook at Wrestle Dream because first of all, how
their match was built. The match itself, and I don't think people paid attention to it, their match was built from a nigga moment. Joe had that same moment happen. Joe had that same moment happen in Ring of Honor where he was trying.
I know the exact moment you're talking about. He was trying. That match was fire too.
So I was like, they built that match from a nigga moment, and I'm like, I don't think people really picked up on that. No. Like they called it a miscommunication. I was like, that's the proper term to say nigga moment. That's essentially what it was. I was like, I see where you're appealing to. I like this.
And then, first of all, what they have set for Wrestle Dream. The beauty of AEW is like, it's two things. First of all, when people tell me they can't get into AEW, it's like because so much like, guys, like it's right in front of your face. It is it is so easy. If you want to follow what is going on in AEW to this point, it's on YouTube. You can find these, it's not inaccessible to where you can't figure out what's going on. If you watch Being the Elite, you can figure out like why the Bucks are the way they are, why Kenny is the way he is, why all these people are the way they are. It's as simple as that. It is. Absolutely. It's really that simple. And then it's like when they talk about, because they'll even reference it, Excalibur will reference it on TV. It's like, yeah, so this happened on like when the Bucks was like, this happened on the past episode of Being the Elite. We're going to show you this footage from Being the Elite as to wonder why we got here. And then they'll show it. Because like, for example, like this thing with the Bucks, with the broke Bucks, on the episode of Being the Elite, they went to the casino, and then they showed that footage on TV. It's right. You know what I mean? And see, it's like, that's the stuff y'all got to pay attention to. And the other thing is that AEW has a way of like, it was like, all right, am I going to buy this pay-per-view? I bought just about every pay-per-view this year for AEW. Because save for the one I actually went to because I was there. Save for All in Texas because I was there. But I just about bought every single pay-per-view this year, and I haven't regretted it because every single time, everything. The only thing that didn't hit was Mox and Edge. And I call him Edge. I don't care what they're calling him in AEW. He's Edge. That match, the match they had at Revolution, that didn't hit to me.
Right.
It just didn't hit, especially after what we got before that, because we had Tony and Mariah, we had Hangman and MJF. We had Konosuke Takeshita and Kenosuke Takeshita and Kenny before that. So I was like,
Right.
all that stuff happened before that, and for that to be the main event, it just kind of fell flat. Didn't ruin the show, but it you could have put somewhere else. But I get how you're still holding the title in this high regard, to where it's like, regardless of the match, it's still the main title, and you still got to put it in the spot. You know, so they have this way of, like, for Wrestle Dream, they've only announced 4 matches. I don't care, but out of the 4 matches they've announced, I'm like, well, I'm definitely buying it.
Yeah.
They announced Hangman and Joe, watching that. Tony and Chris Statlander, watching that. They announced Jon Moxley. Well, first of all, when they announced Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin in an I Quit match, especially after the match they just had, I was like, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course they're gonna watch. Of course they're gonna watch that. And then it was also like, and then even after, what was the one we just had? All Out. I was like, I hope that's not it. With in regards to Darby and Moxley, I'm like, I hope that's not it. Because I want more of this. You have to escalate that. Because a cop, you have to get more. And I say this in jest, you gotta. So you went to aggravated assault. You gotta escalate it up to like felonies.
Just a little bit,
felonies.
It's gotta get a little bit higher.
Just a little bit. You gotta get a little bit, but like you gotta escalate a little bit more. From like third, you went third degree. You gotta get a little bit into second degree, not necessarily first degree, not first degree, just a little bit into second degree. But I'm like you in the way that I'm not taking it for granted. I'm enjoying it every step I get. I'd be lying if I said the only issue I have with it. Now, granted, while they're individually as wrestlers amazing, like I think Kenosuke Takeshita has a when they do the match between Takeshita and Okada eventually does happen, I'm going to be like jumping through my ceiling. Mm-hmm. But I do think everybody don't need to be in the Don Callis family. That's about the only.
It's the new NWO. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's about the only thing. And I don't even have a bad.
It gives those people something to do.
Right.
So without them just sitting there floating, they get to be on TV. It makes sense. Honestly, I'm not a fan of it, but it does make sense. But they're gonna get a story out of it at some point, though. So we'll just gotta keep buying our time. That's all.
Yeah, I just saw somebody say, like, if the Death Riders turn face, that could be something for them to do. That's fair.
That could potentially be something that happens down the line.
Plus, it helps that these guys individually, like, I don't know if you know this, but Hechicero had 3 bangers with Bandito.
Absolutely.
He just had a match. They had a banger over the weekend at CMLL, and then they had their banger at Death Before Dishonor. You know, and Takeshita had a banger with Bandito at Supercard. You know, so it's not like they don't.
I love Bandito. Bandito's awesome. Definitely one of my favorite. I personally would let people understand, like, he's probably a wrestler of the year. I believe he. Oh yeah, he probably should be wrestler of the year. I know they gave it to Cody Rhodes. But I think it should have been Bandito. I think his in-ring work speaks for itself. I think just him showing up a little bit earlier this year, where he showed up, gave himself a concussion by accident, and had to go back on the shelf, and then had to come back again. I think that kind of threw off the momentum just a little bit, because he was supposed to win the Ring of Honor World title at that moment, but they had to hold off on it. But it still happened. But I'm a big fan of Bandito.
But to see him win it when he did, I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but I think it was Double or Nothing. But to see him win it in that moment and then just have nothing but amazing work behind it, especially when it matters. Like in the main event spot, when, like, hey, you have the title, you have to have bangers. It kind of harkened me back to the old Ring of Honor, where all the Ring of Honor World title matches were you're just going out there. We're just going to go out here and have like barn burners just for the hell of it. You know, it reminded me of Danielson, because to me, Danielson would go out there with the belt and just like everybody's getting a banger. You know,
exactly.
Like it doesn't matter it didn't matter. Like it kind of reminds me of that. Like it didn't matter who he was wrestling. It's like who he's gonna get. Like you're gonna get work out of it, whether it was Roderick Strong or Nigel McGuinness or Joe or AJ or like, you know, whoever, like Lance Storm at one point. You know, it didn't matter. Like he's gonna get the work. Everybody's
Absolutely.
gonna get it. Everybody's gonna get that shine. That's how I feel with
Absolutely.
Bandito. You know,
Mhm.
I wish I had. I wish I did. Wish we had a little bit of more time with Bryan Danielson. I'm happy with what we got, but I wish I just needed I just wanted the one thing I wanted. I just wanted a rematch of him and Kenny. I think they should have done that. We would have gotten a proper run from that. But considering that was the first match back post WWE, Anna went to a draw, Anna was fire. I'm like, let's leave that where it is. Let's leave that where it is. All right. Thank you. Thank you again for joining us. It was a pleasure. It was
Absolutely.
definitely a privilege to have you on here. Like I said, I know we covered a lot. And how can people find you?
Very simple. I'm on Twitter at Southside Gun. So if you're trying to get your daily music needs and get some some unhinged tweets, and you're trying to see that, you can reach me on Twitter at that. Instagram is Mr_Southside_Gun. That's where all of my music takes are gonna be posted, and even on TikTok, you can find me at Southside Gun as well. That's really just where I am on those three. Music is reviews will be just I'm throwing them out there. I've been busy. It's been a busy summer, so it's kind of winding down now. So now that we're in fall, I'm kind of slowing everything down, but everything will be out there. So more content to come, folks.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate your time. Once again, thank you everybody for joining. This has been the A Bothered Man podcast. We'll see y'all next